Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and when Apple updated their MacBooks to Core i9 processors, or at least the availability of the Core i9, I was pretty excited to try it out. I thought it might be something that would really change how I edit, since I'm usually editing on a MacBook anyway, and I was able to find one at my local Apple store. This is the Core i9 6-core 2.9 gigahertz. It has 32 gigabytes of RAM and the Radeon 560X Pro graphics card. It also has 1 terabyte of solid state storage. So I've been using it for about a week and my findings are pretty mixed, and I'm pretty sad that this is where we're at with Apple. This MacBook is really very nice. It's not much different than the other one. So I thought we'd talk about what's new first and then move on to what I found with thermal throttling. So the design's exactly the same as the 2017, so there's not much to talk about there. But if you look at the bottom, everything's the same. You've got the same intakes and cooling vents. And of course, on the sides, you've got your USB Thunderbolt 3 ports. And then on the other side, again, USB-C and headphone jack or Thunderbolt 3. They're very fast, they work great. I use them with an eGPU as well, and I also tested it with that. But the new things about this device in particular are its keyboard, which is supposed to be a third generation type that underneath it, according to iFixit, there's a little membrane there. Other than that, it feels about the same. The keyboard throws the same, and it feels the same to type on. It's maybe slightly quieter or less clicky sounding compared to the previous generation. I don't think it's a big deal, but it's something to note. Now, the display itself has True Tone, and that looks really good. It's really easy on the eyes, but for a professional, you probably want to turn that off when you're editing video or photos just to make sure that your colors are accurate, because that will tweak that a little bit, and you want to make sure that what you're seeing is what the actual colors look like. So they have the option to turn that off. As far as solid state drives are concerned, this is the fastest MacBook there is. I've never seen a portable computer or laptop be this fast when it comes to read and write speeds. They're both getting 25 to 2600 megabytes per second on read and write speeds. Now, using this day to day, over the past few days that I've had it, about 4 days actually, it has been a pleasure to use. You've got 6 cores to use. They're super fast. Everything's really quick. But then when we push it to that limit, it starts to throttle. So let's talk a little bit more about that. So I did quite a few tests to see what kind of throttling is going on. Now, I've set this test up to use as much power as I can. So I'm exporting a video, a 4K video about 9 minutes long. I'm also running Prime 95 and running Yes in the terminal 12 times. So I've got the CPU utilization spiked at almost 100% or 98.90. And you'll see the frequency for the CPU clock is staying around 2.5 gigahertz or so. You can see that in Power Gadget and also in iStat menu, which is on the right. I let this run over a period of about 10 to 15 minutes, and let me speed it up so you can get an idea of what it looks like over that amount of time as it stays hot and it's heat soaked. After running this test on the Core i9 2018 model, I then moved over to the 2017 model with the 3.1 gigahertz Core i7 processor in it. And as you can see here, it's staying right around 3.1 gigahertz. You don't see the same throttling that you do on the newer 2018 Core i9. So the Core i9 went down to about the low 2 gigahertz range and then would spike occasionally to 3 gigahertz, but most of the time stayed at about 2.5 gigahertz. So we definitely see the throttling. Now, when I'm editing, I usually use an eGPU if I'm at home, and Apple is advertising one this way. So I have it in closed clamshell connected to the developer GPU that I got a year ago, and then I also tried it with the vents facing up as well in closed clamshell. Now, the results I got were not so good. You can see it goes down to about 1.9 gigahertz, so a whole gigahertz down from before. Now, I opened it up to try it this way as well and found the exact same similar results. It did not seem to improve really at all. So the next thing I did was put the MacBook into the freezer. I put it in there for 5 minutes, and then after 5 minutes I opened it back up, took a look at the MacBook, checked the actual surface temperature and it's 56 or 13.2 Celsius. And as you can see here, the processor is still throttling back and forth. The temperature doesn't seem to make that much of a difference, and I find that really disappointing given that its environment right now is so cold. When it comes to deciding which model is best, based on my benchmarks, assuming the processors will actually stay cool at their peak processing power in the previous versions, I would say get the 2.2 or 2.6 gigahertz versions of this, since you're going to maintain those speeds anyway with a Core i9. So you might as well stick with those based on my tests. You can spec those out the exact same as far as RAM is concerned or the graphics card is concerned. So just pick which one you'd like that will work best for you. After using the MacBook Pro for about a week, I still think it's a good machine for most people. They're going to edit video on it, or if you're going to record audio, you won't have an issue, and you probably won't notice the thermal throttling if you don't look. If you're using the Core i7 models, you probably won't see that, although I don't have one of those to test. Now, as far as the Core i9 is concerned, it can't maintain its core clock speed of 2.9 gigahertz. In almost no situation when I got the CPU up to 50% usage did it maintain that clock speed. I tried it on my lap, I tried it on tables, it made no difference. So I think that part's pretty disappointing, and it's really Apple's obsessiveness with thinness that's getting them in trouble here. You can't add a bigger graphics card such as a Radeon Vega, or you can't add an NVIDIA GPU. You don't have the cooling available because of this obsessiveness with thinness. I don't think anyone was complaining about the 2013, 2015 style MacBook Pro and its thickness with its added ports. So hopefully Apple's listening to this and will add some extra ports, maybe give us an SD card slot back, make it a little bit thicker in order to have all the cooling necessary to keep this to be the top machine with the top graphics cards. So let me know what you think about it in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. And if you have a 2017-inch model like I have back here, I think just keep that. Don't upgrade for now. I don't think you're going to see much of a benefit. However, if you have an older model, you will see a benefit. It just depends on what you're doing. Stick with those Core i7s. It seems like that's probably the way to go, and save that extra money. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.